All right, guys. First order of business. So, hey, uh, Banner, hospitals gonna be the game sponsor, and obviously they're a major partner for everything we do here at University of Arizona Athletics. They're gonna be auctioning shoes off, not just these shoes, but I think there's about approximately 20 pairs that'll be auctioned off, and the proceeds are gonna help build the play zone at the Diamond Children's Medical Center here in Tucson. Okay, the auction website, let me give it to you. So Jason Shear has it, and I know he wants to bid on these. uarizona.givesmart.com. Bidding is open now, and it closes February 10th at noon. So, and these were all hand painted by patients, at the Diamond Children's Medical Center. So pretty cool touch. These actually ones turned out really good. Some of them, a little rough, but it's all in fun. And actually, our coaching staff, we've had a bunch of fun with it. Giving each other a hard time. So yeah, I hope you guys can get the word out and people can support this. It's a great cause.
Coach Lewis' cancer has been a big part of college basketball for a long time, as well as the Jimmy V Foundation. Why is it important for this sport to come together around these causes?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you can bring attention to causes that impact all of our lives, around, obviously, college basketball is very positive, and in most instances, and life's tough, that we all know. We're all touched by this stuff. So anytime that, we can, use the platform of college basketball to promote some of these charities, I think it's a great thing. I've worn those. Yeah, I wore those the last two games. Yeah, and if we didn't win on Saturday, we were going to have to cancel the auction. So I'm glad we won.
You mentioned we were there for the drawing of them, if you will, and some were more abstract. Do you remember who wore one that was like all gray or whatever?
I don't know. I mean, I think that would be interesting. I think our SID probably has enough time in his hands. He can probably do like a snapshot of each one and who's wearing what. Guys, I don't notice what shoes people wear. I don't notice people wear headbands or not. I don't know if they have an undershirt on. I just know it's Arizona against the other team. So I'm pretty bad at all those details.
You do notice the wins and losses, and you mentioned after the last game that you're tired of hearing about the bounce back and you need to put the wins together. What needs to change, or does anything need to change to make that happen?
I mean, you just got to play better. I mean, I don't think we need to overthink it. I think we need to play better, and obviously it's easy, with a revisionist history to go back and dissect what happened, but we got to be better in those moments and make sure that, we're doing the things necessary to win, whether it's home or on the road. And so that's our focus. And, I think this team's ready to take the next steps, but me thinking they're ready and us actually doing it are two different things. So now the coaching staff, has to lead the players, and the players have to help lead themselves. And then we need to get moving forward.
Based on some of the things KJ said last week, he was concerned about past performances where he felt like the team, didn't come out with a sense of urgency against the teams that they were favored against. Clearly against Oregon State, you guys came out with good energy. Is it just a matter of keeping that together for 40 minutes?
I mean, like I said, I think you can dissect this stuff any way you want. We just got to play better. I mean, and you can give the old, the 40 minutes cliche, but you can't foul 7 times under 10 seconds on a shot clock, and whether those are all good calls or bad calls, it doesn't matter. They were called fouls. You can't give up 5 made threes under 5 seconds on a shot clock. A couple of those are really hard shots, and a couple of them maybe we could have influenced a little bit more. Just things like that, and then offensively, you got to put together great possessions after great possessions, and I felt like on that road trip, I think we shot over 50% both games. Not that I wouldn't want to. I always want a little bit more, but like I said, we're not, dwelling on this stuff or overthinking it. I thought we played really good on Saturday. I think we've had another good week of preparation, so, I'm excited to see how we come out tomorrow.
The only reason I'm bringing this up again is because of the coaches versus cancer, but you did mention after the Duke game you had a really good friend who was ill. Is that cancer? And if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
No, I mean, I can talk about it. I mean, Andrew passed away. I mean, it's real. He passed away, I think he passed away last Monday. Yep.
Cancer. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he had brain cancer. Yeah, it's crazy. My age, 49 years old, college buddy, and, he has a family, and, yeah, I mean, it's hitting us all pretty hard.
Sorry to hear that.
No, you're good. It's reality.
There to visit him towards the end, was that right? And
No, and then we were trying to get him to the game in Pullman because he lives in Walla Walla, and just the weather didn't cooperate.
So this is starting now where, with the exception of a couple opponents, you faced these teams now. Does that give you an advantage, or does that just even the play field because they know the same things about
I mean,
you?
it probably gives both team an opportunity for an advantage. I mean, if you've played each other, once, you have real live bullets. When you go back and look at the film, it's us versus them and them versus us. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, that was over a month ago now, and and things change and evolve over the course of the season. It looks like to me they're playing really well. I mean, the Tyson guy, he's a heck of a player. I mean, he's really aggressive, really strong, skilled, perimeter player. I mean, he's leading the conference in scoring, and then, they're big. They use him in a variety of ways, and kind of like a modern day big where they facilitate through him and play through him, and he's good at doing that. And then, Cone is obviously an explosive scorer who, he's, he may be a little bit streaky, but, his streaks can end up in 5-6 made threes in a game. And then the Celestine kid's playing really well too. I mean, that looked like me. He's really settled in, and their role players are playing good. So, to me, that they got a solid squad.
when you took care of them 20-2 run early up there, is it a challenge to convince your guys that they are better, like you're saying?
I mean, if it is a challenge, we don't have mature competitors. So I hope it's not. I hope our guys, I mean, I hope they don't need a rah-rah speech. I hope they understand what we're playing for and, and what position we've put ourselves in. And I hope there's a sense of urgency to take advantage of that.
What did you see, Tommy, in terms of when you went back to look at the Oregon game that you thought was different for Kylan in that game than some of the games he had struggled on?
Kylan was just way more aggressive. He was, I think we had looked at one deal and he had like 2 or 3 game stretch where he only got to the paint one time. And so he just was more aggressive. He got to the paint a few more times. He hunted a few catch and shoots. And we don't expect any player to be perfect, and even Kylan to be perfect. But he just played with more force and aggression, and he just had a better way about him. And and so I mean that's Kylan gets all the credit for playing well. It was no magic potion, no big speech or anything like that. He just stepped up and played better, and we need him to.
You guys double the post defensively. What are your core philosophies there on how you want your guys to do that?
I mean, let's get the napkin and go to Bob Dobbs, and I'll sit down with you guys. And to be honest with you, I mean, we haven't really doubled the post much lately, So, I mean, the core philosophy is always put 2 guys on the ball aggressive, have a low hole, a top hole, and then you have a guy in a rotation. So I mean, it's kind of no matter how you double the post, where it comes from, the baseline, the top, the passer, the other big, off the dribble, whatever, on the catch. I mean, you kind of end up, with 2 guys on the ball and 3 guys, supporting. And so I mean, that's kind of all the same philosophy I think everybody has, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of different ways to do it.
You mentioned the maturity. How would you say from the beginning of the season to now that the maturity's progressed within the team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're better now than we were at the start, and I think that's hard for people to understand, but other teams get better too. So, there's always that continuum, and we're better now because of what we've been through, the good things and the bad things, and now you just gotta continue to build. And I like I told Kylan's a better player now than he was before the Duke game because of his experiences. It may not look like that or feel like it every day, but he is. So. Now you just hope these guys hang with it and keep their confidence high, and then if you're able to do those things, the growth will show.
There's a lot of data that suggests it's harder to win on the road this year, right now, than it has been in a long time in college basketball. Why do you think that is, whether it's applicable to your team or the sport as a whole?
I mean, well, first off, our team, we don't ever want to lower our standards. We expect to win on the road, bottom line. I mean, that's our responsibility to go out and win on the road. We know it's incredibly challenging. I think some of the reasons are, I think that you're still seeing the effect of COVID, with these players getting extra eligibility. And, I think the way I've kind of looked at it, and I might not be right, I think there's one more year. Last year's kind of that 5th year from COVID where these guys are getting that extra year of eligibility. So there's more experienced players in the player pool, and these players are getting dispersed and distributed, you know, um, you know, across, other teams, because, you can't load up and kids are looking, well, I don't want to go there. They have three guys. I'm going to go here, so maybe some of these other teams, there's a little bit of a trickle down effect. I think that's, to me, the most significant reason. And then, with the transfer portal and kids, being able to be instantly eligible or transfer twice and get eligible when that wasn't to be the plan, it's just how it allowed teams are now have more experience, have more depth, have more talent, across the board. And there's been a trickle-down effect to some of the other programs that maybe wasn't there pre-COVID. I mean, to me, that would be the most logical way. Now, I don't have any data other than my eyes, that are telling me that. But to me, I think that would be the major cause.
Last week, there was, on the board meeting, there was an agenda item pulled that would have involved a contract extension for you. What are you able to tell us about why that was taken off of there?
Because there was no agreement. I mean, it was as simple as that. I don't know why it was on there. It's probably just a small oversight, but we're definitely, working hard behind the scenes to make sure that we find an agreement, and I'm excited about it. I mean, last night, I'll just say this, Arizona's a great place. Last night, we had a social with over 200 employees from the athletic department for a happy hour at Culinary Dropout. We had a great time. And this is a special place to work, and I think people inside this building realize that. And it's on us right now to take the next steps as an organization and make it an unbelievable culture. And so that's what we're going to do. And so I'm excited to be part of it, lead it, whatever you want, to follow it. I mean, I'm all in.
For whatever reason, it seemed like Caleb was playing angry in that game Saturday. Is that good for him?
I just think he's got a bad scowl. I think he was really happy, actually. And I tell him that. I tell him he needs to smile more. I used to tell Ben that all the time too. So I don't think he was angry. I mean, I think he's a competitor, and I think he knew we needed to play well as a team, and he himself played really well. I mean, that's the one thing that probably hasn't gotten talked about. I mean, he played a great game. And, to me, he looks every bit, the part of a first-team All-American, and I've coached a lot of those guys, and he's right there. I think the really important part, which is going to allow him to get there and our team to get there, is if he just settles in and plays really solid basketball. You don't have to try to score 30 every game. I mean, I'm happy with 15, a few assists, low turnovers, good defense. I think that gets him there. And and I know that he's having that All-American impact on our team.
You're talking about the going smaller with some of the lineups having like Keyshawn or Pella even at the 5, having done that a little bit the other day. Is that something you could do more of, or is it situational depending on who you're playing?
We could do more of a lot of things, for sure. But yeah, it is. It is something that I like that, and just you develop your team, and maybe you always have your base. That's probably what you're going to do a majority of the time, but I think it's good to add a few, variations to just to give yourself more opportunities to maybe impact the game with different lineups, and so I thought that was really impactful, that game, and I didn't go back and look at the lineup numbers, but what my eyes told me is it really worked.
Like at this time of year, do you kind of feel like this is the last time to really get your rotation the way you want it to be?
I mean, I don't know if it's the last time. I think your mind's always kind of going to places like how can we be harder to play against? But if your team stays healthy, you probably don't have to make a ton of lineup adjustments. I mean, that's probably the biggest catalyst for changing, lineups would be, an injury or something like that.
Is any part of that, you've talked about Morauskas and Borovicin and getting those guys in. I mean, does that give them?
Listen, I mean, those are good players. They're good players, and I mean, I'm hard on myself every day that they're not getting opportunities, but it's hard. I mean, sometimes that's, one of the most difficult things about being a coach, is just, rewarding guys with opportunities they deserve. It's just, you can't make everyone happy or give everyone the opportunity to deserve. But I know this, those guys are both going to be great basketball players in the future.
Tommy, was it specifically the flow of that Oregon game that we saw Keyshawn take 4 threes, or is there more of an emphasis in him doing that?
Well, I mean, I think they weren't guarding him much, to be honest with you. And I like it when Keyshawn shoots good wide open threes. I mean, I watch him shoot every day in practice. I watch him shoot in his workouts, and I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable when he shoots the basketball, and I think that helps us. So I think he took a few really good shots, and kind of got set up by his teammates, and so yeah, no, I don't think there was anything, different from that game than maybe any other. Maybe the ball found him a few times, and maybe Oregon was, maybe keeping his defender closer to the lane to help.
With Stanford and Cal in particular, do you see yourselves playing them in any form outside of maybe a random MTE in the next foreseeable future or whatever?
Well, the foreseeable future, I see him playing them Thursday and Sunday. So, but beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna kind of just focus on where we're at now, and I know that's no fun for you because you want to write a scheduling article. I know that, but I respect both those coaches, respect both those programs, and I mean it's possible something can happen in the future. But for the time being, obviously, I want to focus on now, and then I want to figure out what it's like to play a Big 12 schedule. A little bit, then I think that'll kind of help me, guide me in how we can do some non-conference stuff, going forward. Because, I think the easy, sentimental answer is, yeah, we're going to continue playing all these Pac-12 schools and homes. Well, we'd run out of games, and it probably wouldn't be very smart scheduling. So, yeah, I don't know, Bruce. I don't really know going forward. I mean, the only one, I mean, I've talked to a few of the programs, and obviously us and UCLA have probably had the most talks. Of any program going forward, what it's going to look like in the future. All right, guys. Have a great one.